Welcome to Comic Power. I am your host, Comic Killer 72. Welcome to Wicked Wednesday, where we discuss all the new comics that's coming out this week. Every Wednesday is like Christmas for us nerds because that's when the new comics come out. These are my recommendations for the best books to pick up on Wednesday. But here's some other information first. I recently did a artist spotlight video on Frank Cho. He's been in the comic business for over 20 years, but he's just now getting famous for his Harley Quinn cover B variants. That video came out on May the 18th. Go to playlist and see the video I did on him and Adam Hughes. They're both tremendously talented. Please let me know what artists you'd like to see featured coming up when I do more artist spotlight features. Also, you guys are way too quiet for me. I would love to see more feedback in the comment section. If you're feeling the channel, let me know what you like and I will do more of that. Let me know what you don't like and I'll stop doing that. Your feedback is very important about what I do and don't talk about. In other news, this is my 100th video. I want to take the time out to acknowledge that and thank all of my charter subscribers who were there from the beginning and welcome all my new subscribers. In saying that, let's get started on New Comic Day. And DC Comics is giving us Action Comics number 980 and it lives up to its name. There's so much good stuff happening here, I don't have enough time to explain it all. There's Superman, Cyborg Superman, The Eradicator, General Zod, Amanda Waller pulling strings, and an awesome cover B variant showing Harley Quinn that you can't help but love. If Action Comics is this good at 980, what's going to happen with issue 1000? We'll see when it reaches that milestone in late 2018. Next up is Batman Beyond number 8. There's a Batman for all occasions. There's a standard Batman comic. There's a Detective Comics. There's a Batman 66. There's the Frank Miller Dark Knight. Anything you can dream of, there's a Batman for it. This is the feature Batman in the person of Terry McGinnis. And Bernard Chang's artwork fits this feature style very well. Next up is Deathstroke number 19, and this is part 3 of the Lazarus contract where he takes on the Teen Titans, which makes sense because he's the original arch enemy of the Teen Titans, first introduced in the Teen Titans number 2 back in 1980. He's the original Merc for Money that was a big influence on Deadpool, who was created 11 years later. Hardcore Deadpool fans don't like to hear that, but he got his start as a Deathstroke clone. Next up is Mother Panic number 7, and this is a comic you should give a chance, at least on a trade paperback. This character is a female vigilante in Gotham City in the same universe as Batman. And like Bruce Wayne, she comes from the upper crust of Gotham society, but she hits the street at night and cleans up the scum. DC didn't take the easy way out and name her Batgirl or Batwoman or even Bat-Teen. They gave her her own name, and Violet Page's first appearance is in Mother Panic number 1. Rescue it from the dollar bin, it might pay off later. She eventually will have a crossover with Batman, but they're developing her own Rose Gallery right now. Next up is Wonder Woman number 23, and this is part 5 of the Truth story arc. Princess Diana's movie is just around the corner on June the 2nd, and I can't wait. This is the first project that Jeff Johns will be hands-on since he took over the film division, so he's taken over the lead on the films, and Zack Snyder is being phased out after Justice League, which is a great move for fixing the DC movies. The Jenny Frison variants continue as well, and they've been a big hit. Her interpretation of Wonder Woman looks regal. Great job, Jenny. Next up, let's see what Marvel is up to. And first up is Black Panther number 14. And congratulations to Brian Stelfeeze for being nominated for an Eisner for Best Penciler for his work on Black Panther. He's worthy of the nomination. Issue number 8 alone is one of the most stunning visuals I ever saw. Up close, it looks like squiggly lines, but if you back up and squint, you can see the profile of a woman that's most likely Shuri, Black Panther's sister. Issue number 14 also gives us an appearance of Dr. Faustus, who can warp minds. He first appeared back in Captain America number 107 in 1968. The Black Panther movie drops in February of 2018, and I can't wait for that either. Next up is I Am Groot number 1. I am Groot, 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 I am Groot. Which means there's no reason for this to exist. Marvel is just putting out a Groot book to time up with the movie's release. So new comic fans that walk into a store that saw the movie, they can buy a comic that looks just like the character in the movie, the baby version. Something like this should only be a one-shot, because how do you write a comic for a character that only has one line of dialogue? I am Groot. Next up is Jean Grey number 2. She's a founding member of the X-Men and probably the most popular female character in that universe. So should she headline her own title? Yes. Speaking of X books, Weapon X number 1 is going to a second printing. You got Old Man Logan, Domino, Lady Deathstrike, Sabretooth. It's fully loaded. Weapon X number 1 was the spec pick of the week for April 12th, and in my opinion, a great long-term hold for investors. Next up is Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur number 19. Despite low sales, they keep publishing this book, so they must have long-term plans for the character. I still say it looks like an animated series just waiting to happen. She's in the 616 universe, but it's a much lighter read. It would be a good book to introduce to a young girl. It's a lot safer and easier to digest. Issue number 19 is also the first appearance of Girl Moon, shown on the cover here. But if you want your darkness, there's always Venom. Issue number 150 drops this week. They were able to get to that number by going back to the original continuity numbering system. Hey, the comic business is weird. They do whatever they want to do. Marvel tried to do different things with Venom, like Agent Venom and Venom Space Knight, but at the end of the day, fans want Eddie Brock Venom, the drooling, Spider-Man hating, lethal protector Venom. Best perfected in the early 90s. There will be a gazillion variants for this, so don't go crazy on it. It's not a real event, but Marvel is treating it like it is. But it's not. Pay your cover price and that's about it. Next up is Unworthy Thor on trade paperback. This collects issues 1 through 5 of this incredible miniseries. The retail price on this is about $17, but you need to make room for it in your wallet. If you missed the miniseries, you're going to be blown away when you read this. It's the adventure that's even better than Lord of the Rings. Cult favorite Beta Ray Bill and the Collector. And of course Thanos shows up. Jason Aaron doesn't just deserve an Eisner, he deserves a Pulitzer for this. I don't name trade paperbacks the speculation picks of the week, but I will say this: if you don't buy this, I will come to your house personally and slap you. Next up is our report on independent comics and small publishers. First up is The Normals, number 1 from Aftershock Comics. This is the story of a family that finds out that nothing in their life that ever happened was real. This is from acclaimed writer Adam Glass. He's written Deadpool, Luke Cage, The Suicide Squad, and many other things. Aftershock Comics had a big hit with Animosity. Pestilence has done pretty well, but it's too early to tell if it'll be a long-term hit. The Normals looks like it has potential. I would check it out. Next up is the Shaolin Cowboy, Who'll Stop the Rain, number 2. From Dark Horse Comics. As you can judge from this cover, it's one of the strangest comic books out there on the market. It's a story of a monk who's a martial artist who's kicked out of his monastery, and now he's got a bounty on his head and all types of crazy creatures are coming after him. This title is completely ludicrous and over the top, which is its appeal. It would be in the realm of something like Itchy and Scratchy on The Simpsons. There's also a Frank Cho variant shown here. I recently did a video on Frank about his artwork for Asian Heritage Month. I think he's one of the best in the business. Next up, and also from Dark Horse, is Mass Effect Discovery, number 1. It's a story of a military recruit who goes undercover to rescue a scientist from the bad guys. This is action science fiction at its best, and that cover looks great. I would try this out. Next up is Weird Love, number 18 from IDW. This looks like something from 50 Shades of Grey, so let me explain it. This is a reprint from the early 1950s that predates the Comics Code Authority. World War II was over, so comic book publishers were looking for something new to push sales. So a lot of them chose horror. Only problem with that is that these comics were being sold to kids. The government threatened to intervene, so the comic industry decided to do some self-imposed regulation, therefore the Comics Code. And it made comics as lame as possible in the late 1950s because the code became too strict. By the early 90s, the code's authority became so weak that they just disappeared, so you don't see it anymore. But material that's not for kids will have MA printed on it. Next up is The Rapture, number 1 from Valiant Comics. This is part 1 of a 4-part miniseries. It's written by Matt Kindt, who seems to be writing everything for Valiant these days. All of the Divinity stuff plus Exo Manowar. This stars Ninjak, Shadow Man, and Punk Mambo. It's going to be some fantastic action horror. You can jump right into this without having to know what's going on or who all the characters are. Matt Kindt is such a gifted writer that he's good at explaining things without dumbing it down. Speaking of Exo Manowar, issue number 3 drops this week, and as I also mentioned, it's also written by Matt Kindt. In this reboot, Eric of Dacia, aka Exo Manowar, is on a foreign planet and trying to live a peaceful life, but the planet breaks out into war, so he must summon the armor one more time. Also dropping this week is issue number 1, which is going to a 3rd print. So issue number 1 first print looks like this, 2nd print looks like this, and 3rd print looks like this. You're missing an incredible title if you're not following Exo. You should be ashamed of yourself if you pass this up. It's better than good, it's great. Next up is the speculation pick of the week. And that's going to be Victor Lavelle's Destroyer, number 1 from Boom Studios. This is a fresh, up-to-date take on the Frankenstein genre. The preview reads like this. When the last descendant of the Frankenstein family loses her son to a police shooting, she turns to science for her own justice. Victor Lavelle is not a household name, but he is a gifted writer that has won plenty of awards. He's an assistant professor at Columbia University School of Arts too. So now he's taking his shot at comics. The advanced preview art of this just looks outstanding. And of course the premise is intriguing. The cover B variant is drawn by Brian Stelfeeze, famous for drawing the Black Panther, and he's nominated for an Eisner this year for his pencil work. So yeah, you got some very talented people involved in this project. There are 4 genres in horror fiction that will never go away. Werewolves, vampires, zombies, and of course Frankenstein. They always get updated and flipped to the modern day, so this is definitely worth checking out. Next up, let's see what Image is up to, and that's always something hot. First up is Deadly Class number 28. This is the title that's written by Rick Remender. He's best known for 7 to Eternity now, but this is one of his earlier titles. He's working on a screenplay as we speak to bring this to another type of media, possibly a movie or television. It's definitely worth picking up a trade to catch up. There's also a Spawn variant. Image will be doing these variants the rest of the year to pay homage to Spawn. Released in 1992, it's its 25th anniversary. Next up is Magdalena Volume 4 number 3. The only reason I'm mentioning this is because it's got a very cool looking Spawn variant. No one's paying attention to this title, no one cares about the character, but everyone wants that Spawn variant. They're going for about $15 pre-sale on eBay. That's not a bad price because this will be hard to find. Next up is The Old Guard number 4. This is a story that's written by Greg Rucka. It's the story of immortal mercenaries. They take the jobs that are way too dangerous that no one else would touch. I would recommend it. It's pretty good. It too has a Spawn variant shown here. It's not very obvious beyond the chains, but it is Spawn related. Next up is Redneck number 2. This is the story of the Bowman family in East Texas, and they're secretly vampires. This is from Donnie Cates, the same guy that wrote God Country, which is probably the hottest title of the year, so you want to catch on to everything he's doing. Redneck number 1, which I named the speculation pick of the week a few weeks ago, sold out and went up in value and is selling around $15 right now. Issue number 1 is also being re-released as a second print variant shown right here. And I expect for this to be red hot. See if your local comic shop will hold one for you, unless they're already asking for a premium pre-sale. Next up is Samaritan number 1, and this has promise. It's the story of a female hacker who taps into the world's biggest arms manufacturer. She steals their research and gives it away to everyone. So now they're after her. I like that premise, and I will be getting this, and you should too. Next up is Rat Queens number 3. If you haven't been paying attention, yes, this has been rebooted. It is as good and as hilarious as it's ever been. It's a spoof on the fantasy genre, which needed spoofing because it takes itself too serious sometimes. Next up is 7 to Eternity number 6. This is the book that Rick Remender is writing and was one of the biggest breakout hits of 2016. Nobody saw this coming. I would describe it as action sci-fi horror with some of the best pencil work in the game going on right now. You know the drill. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, give it the thumbs up, and share these videos on social media so others learn about Comic Power. That's about it for today. Thank you for watching Wicked Wednesday, where I review all the new comic books for a new comic day. Be sure to follow my blog at comicpower.net. On social media, follow me at facebook.com/comicpower.net and comicpower-universe.tumblr.com. And don't forget twitter.com/comicpowersub. I also sell comics on eBay at this link. This is Comic Killer 72 for Comic Power saying bye-bye. And don't forget to share this video, click on subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and tell everyone you know about this channel to help it grow. Thank you for your support.